I don't really know how I want to shoot this, but I had an idea for something that I wanted to kind of shoot on my channel, some extra content, just when I have ideas in my head. And I wanted this type of aesthetic. I don't want it to be as, set up and clean as I do my podcast, because that has a certain look and certain things. So this is really just me, just, flexing the creative mind, so to speak. But really this is going to be a little bit of a small, short video about just maybe an opinion I have on a subject matter that's happening somewhere within the space of automotive, or just in general. Maybe it's something I talked about on my podcast and I kind of want to, dive in a little bit more, just give it a little bit of a more nuanced opinion, so to speak. I want the podcast to remain in this format. I love it how it is. And this is going to be shot late at night. Like right now, it's 12:22 in the morning. Kids are asleep. They've been asleep since like 9:30. And I just had this idea come to me, and I was like, you know what? In 2024, I'm just going to execute on the idea and see where it goes. So what am I doing here? This is called Exhausted, which is, CarQuicks Podcast, cars, exhausted. You get what I'm saying, right? But Exhausted is kind of like, I'm going to give opinions on stuff. I'm just like, man, I'm exhausted. So kind of like a pun, but there's a thing here. So let me just get to it. Let me just cut to the chase, because I'm late to what I'm speaking about. The industry, not the industry, but the court of public opinion already was on top of this man's head within minutes of this video going live. And that's Marques Brownlee. And that is, he shot a video, and the video was nothing to do with cars, even though he has a channel about cars called Autofocus. It was a DJI video about a camera, but the very first clip, he was driving a Lamborghini. I believe it was a Revelto, because everybody said it was like some $800,000 car, and the only Lamborghini that cost that much that's new right now was a Revelto. But the controversy kicked up because in this clip, he was driving the car up to 96, basically 100 miles an hour, but he was doing it down very small street, I don't know if there was a lane on each side, but it seemed like a single lane. But it was a 35-mile-an-hour road, because he blew past the speed limit sign that said 35 miles an hour. And then he went past it. Then I guess before that, there was another sign that said this is like a child zone, like maybe kids are at play. And he tried to blur out the speedometer on the main cluster, but forgot on a lot of these supercars, the passenger has a display that shows them the speed as well. And so in the video, you see that speed as well. And so immediately, just on his head, they were like, unbelievable. How could you? Like, here's my thoughts on this whole entire matter. I don't condone anybody doing 60 plus over a posted speed limit, especially in a residential. And some of the some of the comments, I mean, in the automotive space, there could be some hypocritical ideas there, just because, I mean, I watch YouTube automotive content. I've seen plenty of these people. I'm not saying names or anything, because I'm not some, holier than thou person. I'm just saying that I've seen people on many of these videos go way faster than whatever the posted speed limit is. 60, I've seen these people doing 200, 160, 170, 150 on these posted speed limits on the highway. And yeah, a lot of people blur out the speedometer, but I mean, you don't gotta be a rocket scientist to hear, let's just take this Lamborghini, a V12 engine, getting up to 9,000 RPMs, and you're going through, let's just say 3 gears, just 3. If you just had simple math, you'd be like, well, clearly you're going over 100 miles an hour. There's just no way. It's a Lamborghini Revelto. It's got a V12 with 1,000 horsepower. By third gear, it's probably at 120. So anybody that likes cars, I mean, we can kind of just look at the, speed that you're collecting by the RPMs and be like, yeah, you're moving, you're booking it. The difference with Marques that I feel like he just completely just was negligent on is that, one, the road he was on was not even like the road to do it on. Meaning, if he would have found like a highway, and I don't know where he's at, he's somewhere in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. If he would have went on the turnpike and on the on-ramp, just hit it real quick. And the cool thing about supercars of that nature is that they can get up to speed very, very fast. Like, it doesn't take long to get up to 100 miles an hour in a Lamborghini. It takes about 2 gears. The rest of us gotta, go through the RPM range and go through all the gears, and you get there. So it's not like you need a lot of space to crack that speed or to just get the exhilarating feeling of how much acceleration that car can produce. So if he would have been on the turnpike, Route 22, the Merritt Parkway, I don't care where it was at, he could have merged onto any highway, and in that little space of merge, hit it real quick, and not a soul would have said anything. Maybe a few people. But I highly doubt it, because there's so many reviews on cars where they test out the acceleration from 0 to 60 or even up to 100, and you can tell they're getting up to speed, but they're doing it in a better controlled manner where you're like, I understand what they're doing. If you look at channels like Smoking Tire or something like that, even review channels like Motor Trend or Car and Driver, even when they're on the road, you know that they're dipping their foot a little bit into the power range to feel. They're not going crazy. And that's where he just messed up completely. It's the road he chose. It was just, I'm not trying to say that you should be doing any of this on a public road, right? Let's not condone driving above the posted speed limit because it's there for a reason. I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying that I'm not going to stand on a high horse and say that nobody, myself included, has not gone over the posted speed limit. I don't know what that number is you went over. I'm just saying I live in Texas. Like, the posted speed limits that we have here are literally like suggestions. You get on I-10 at night and it might say 65. These semi trucks will blow you off the road if you come merging on there at 65 at this hour, like at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, you liable to get yourself killed if you don't get up to 75, 80 at the very least. But the point that everybody's making, and they are right in that point, is that he had no reason to come busting down that one lane road that said 35 miles an hour at 100, because it was just asking for just one thing to go wrong, and it's a catastrophe. Somebody's backing out their driveway. People don't even know how to gauge the speed of a car coming towards them. I've almost gotten an accident with people because I'm merging onto an on-ramp, and maybe I'm accelerating a little bit harder than they realize, and I'm just accelerating up to 75 miles an hour in my little GR Corolla, and I see somebody trying to come over 3 lanes thinking they can beat me to the punch, and I'm like, I'm already up to 65 right now, and I'm accelerating hard, and here they come at 35 trying to cut in front of me, and we almost have a catastrophe. So imagine him coming at 100 and somebody backing out their driveway, just trying to come out a little bit to peek out. Here he comes, and they don't even have a time to react. Or like somebody else said, especially if you have a sign that says there's children there, then that means that they put that sign there because they've already had instances where either a child almost got hit or a child did get hit or something happened where we need to tell you, hey, there's children out here and they might be playing in their driveway or coming out the driveway. It's just, of all the things and of all the places that he could have just tested out how fast and how hard a Revelto accelerated, he just chose the wrong one completely. And that just tells me he's not really, I don't want to say he's not a car guy, but it just tells me that you're not utilizing the thought pattern that a lot of car guys do, the ones that like to drive in back roads and have spirited drives. We pick and choose our roads. We pick our locations. We pick them far away from people and to not disturb, homes and property and like we are out in the boonies, right? Trying to, enjoy our car so that nobody's around, especially not. The road I live on coming into my neighborhood is 30, 35 miles an hour. I never do over 20, honestly, because I have kids and I think about the same thing. If somebody came down our street at 100 miles an hour, we would have beef. Like, folks would probably follow that car to their house and be like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? So I get all the backlash. But here's something else I want to throw in there too, to wrap up my little opinion on this. I do see that a lot of the backlash that he is getting, a bit of it, I feel like, is just wanting to see somebody at the top come down. I mean, that's just what it is. What was that saying from Dark Knight that Harvey said? Die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. And when you are a very successful YouTuber or a successful person in general, any infraction that you do is magnified, unfortunately. That's part of the game. He got 20 million followers, basically, subscribers. He has a massive channel. He gets a massive amount of hits on his videos. And so anything that he does that is scrutinized he's gonna have the magnifying glass on him. But I mean, that's part of what happens if you're in the spotlight and you're getting paid well, because he is. I mean, he owns a Porsche Turbo, so it's not like he had a Plaid. So I mean, you don't gotta guess that he's not making very good money, extremely good money, because he's affording certain things that me and you can't afford or can't even go into the dealership and get. So he's making very good money. He's doing something he loves. So I always feel like, one, you need to protect that at the highest level you can. What I'm trying to say is that Marques needs to understand that everything he's doing is going to be scrutinized, regardless of how he feels about it. And this was a reckless thing that didn't need to happen, especially for the fact that it wasn't even about the video. Like, if he was doing a video on the Lamborghini, then I would say, it's a car review. I can see how he could slip up and throw that in there. One, like I said before, bad road, just terrible judgment, completely. Bad on the editor, which is even more hilarious because he pays these people and has such a massive production team that they blurred out the front speedometer, missed the signs that you could see in the windshield, and then missed the passenger speedometer gauge that you could see. And I'm like, somebody on his team is like, either they fired or he's like, come on, dog. But I know he probably doesn't check every video now. He's probably too busy making up scripts and everything else. He's partnering with companies. So he's probably leaving that to his team to be like, hey, edit that the correct way so we're not getting blasted on the internet. But clearly they couldn't pull that off. So you saw what happened. But another thing too is they're also on him, not just because of the reckless nature of what he did, but also because they didn't like the fact that it was a sponsored video from DJI, which is just, I'm of the opinion that if he can get sponsored videos and get paid, and they're giving him money and he's feeding his family, not that he can't already do it. I understand he got money. I'm not opposed to YouTubers getting paid to do ads and get paid to do branded content, because I'm not above it. Let DJI call me and say, hey, we want you to put your video on your GR Corolla and sponsor the video. I'm going to be like, by all means, let's go. And I think people like him, YouTubers that are really big, everybody assumes that they already make enough money. So if they get any more money, it feels like a slap in the face, especially because YouTube is built on people subscribing and watching the video. So some will have a sense of entitlement to your success, saying you only got here because of me. And part of that is true, but part of it is he still put in the work. I mean, I saw his videos when he was like a kid flipping up HP laptops. So it's not like folks aren't putting in work. It's just funny to see the reaction to branded content. I think that's just a little exaggerated. But you do have to understand the nuance. Economies aren't good and people aren't making the same amount of money. They see you over here in fancy cars. I mean, like, there is a little bit of a balance you have to understand and just have some relatability to the everyday person. But that's my opinion on it. Yeah, he messed up. I don't think it should be burned at the stake. I know folks are really trying to cancel this dude over this. Yeah, it was reckless. His apology, him cutting out the video, like I said, the clip had nothing to do with the video. So for me, I think he was just trying to stunt. Clearly, he ain't about that life of just trying to show off or stuff, because clearly this clip was so unnecessary to the video that I was like, okay, either you're trying to preview something or you just want to show off that you had the car, which I'm like, well, you could have just did that on the autofocus channel, which is about cars, and we wouldn't have thought of it as we are now, thinking like you were just trying to show off, and you picked the wrong clip to do that. Or to end all this, maybe it's a rollout. I listened to the Joe Budden podcast. Guy on there named Ice says everything's a rollout, and if I put my little tinfoil hat on, maybe that's what they wanted. Controversy on a branded content DJI video, because now everybody's going to the video to see what he's talking about and read the comments, and maybe they stick around to hear that he's talking about some new DJI product. I mean, it sounds crazy, but the way this world is working, how it's operating, I don't put it past anybody to pull off something that egregious to just get some more views and money. It just is what it is. Drive safe out there, okay? You don't got to go crazy. We're not winning any awards. You're not getting paid like Lewis Hamilton or Carlos Sainz. You're not getting millions of dollars. You're not being sponsored. Just chill out. Listen, if you want to test out a car, go somewhere where there's nobody around and stop recording yourselves. Like, I know I record myself. I record myself in the car, but I'm also on public roads. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm not trying to get a ticket and arrested and all this other stuff that will just ruin your life or ruin your day. So if you're going to do something like that, man, go somewhere where nobody can be harmed other than yourself if you lose control of this, because it doesn't mean anything can't happen. And also, don't do it when you got trees on one side, retaining walls from people's homes on one side. I mean, like, it looked like there was leaves on the ground. They could have been wet. I mean, just bad road, man. Like, you could have lost it there and just been bouncing off of retaining walls and trees. He'll be fine, though. I don't think this is definitely not the end of Marques Brownlee, and it shouldn't be. Let somebody make a mistake. Let everybody move on. Just, hey, man, stop putting the car video clips in the tech videos. Just let go to autofocus. This is exhausted. This was episode 1. It's late at night. I want to get some sleep. I'll see y'all around. Peace out.